what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. Welcome back to our Sunday night live stream. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Davis. Pleased to be joined by the estimable Jerry Hamilton. Lots to discuss on the show. We'll be talking about the congratulations, by the way, are in order for all the guys who had their name called this past weekend in the NFL draft. But also, we'll talk about the guys who didn't have their name called, but still hope they keep the dream alive as undrafted free agents. Got 7 of those for the Longhorns that we'll talk about and discuss. But of course, your questions, comments, guys, whatever you want to talk about, throw it out there. Super chats, jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. Yes, Scott, Satcher report, I was not drafted. So we get, yeah, exactly. Don't worry, you weren't the only one that wasn't drafted. But that's all right. Trust me. I believe the number last time I did the research, because I've done this, it was over 30% of NFL rosters were undrafted free agents. So, I mean, that's just so you know, they miss a lot, and it's because it's hard. It's hard, Jerry. Matter of fact, it's hard to get it right, even when you got 7 rounds to do it. So we'll talk about the Longhorns and undrafted guys, of course, but we'll also dive into the 2027 draft, because already the mock drafts, Jerry, have already hit the presses, man, and Longhorn fans are I would just say titillated. They are giddy about the prospects of that 2027 draft, but a lot of work to be done in between. We'll talk about that 2027 mock draft. I think CBS Sports had one. I think Pro Football Focus actually take that back. The guys who were fired from Pro Football Focus, they did their own 2027 mock draft. I really like those guys' work, so we'll get into that too. But Jerry, what are your thoughts? Who do you think drafted-wise? We'll get into the undrafted guys here in a second, kind of break down their fits. But draft-wise, who do you think had the best fit? Who do you think landed in the best situation of these 6 guys who had their name called this past weekend?
Rod, that's a great question. I don't know. I honestly don't know. There's a part of me that thinks, from a camaraderie standpoint, man, familiarity with the Dolphins guys. I mean, like, familiarity.
That's wild.
I mean, like, it's kind of like the Denver Broncos in Texas right now, but those guys are more established. But these guys, I mean, there's something about being comfortable and going in and just, having that comfort and that familiarity with more guys. But look, I think Malik Muhammad is, I think that's a pretty good spot for him, Rod. And obviously on the surface, you say, oh, Jack injuries, he's going to play with Joe Burrow. Well, I think there's more that goes into it than just that. But if you're a tight end, there aren't many better places to go.
Yeah.
What did you go with that question?
No, this is a good draft for tight ends to that point, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting to watch. I think it wasn't a record. It was 22 tight ends drafted, I believe, overall. But it's basically the second most tight ends drafted in the most kind of modern era of the draft. And it was all kind of based on Sean McVay's 13 personnel innovation that is now, it's obviously copycat league. So everybody now wants a wide tight end and the flex tight end, the guy you can do a lot with, whatever you want to call him, the H, whatever you want to call him. And because of that, Jared, they drafted a ton of they're drafting tight ends who can't even really be a threat down the field as a pass catcher. They're just drafting blocking tight ends. Yeah. By the way, Texas group of tight ends is probably one of the best group of blockers that Sark has had here. I would have Sark's been looking at it too, not saying he'll go 13 personnel, but that the blocking tight end has now way more value than previously anticipated.
And those guys moved up in this draft for sure. Like, if you're doing this, you're feeling good about it next year.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, you're a Masunas, or hell, even a guy like Nick Towns is a physical blocker. It's good because that has value now when it did. All right, but getting back to the original question, I love what you said about the Dolphins. So I did some research. How about this? The Dolphins, they essentially ended up drafting 3 different sets of teammates. So I feel like that was almost intentional. They drafted the 3 Longhorns, of course, Taft, Campbell, and Moore. And I agree with you, by the way, Jerry. There's a comfort there because I was with the Detroit Lions. That wasn't the team that drafted me. That was the second team. I was with the Giants after he drafted me. But it was a comfort, though, when I was with C-Red again and Sean Rogers. Yep. And I was around a lot of Longhorns. There was a comfort there. And it didn't seem so daunting. the NFL when you're around those guys that you were kind of brothers with in college. So maybe that's something intentional by the Dolphins. I don't know. They drafted a couple of Texas Tech players, Jacob Rodriguez and Caleb Douglas, and Kevin Coleman, because he transferred so much. Kevin Coleman Jr. He's
that's right.
Like two different guys. He was teammates with Chris Bell, who they drafted, and Traore, who they also drafted from Mississippi State. So anyway, a little random sidebar there. But I like what you said about the Dolphins, guys. I think Trey Moore ended up in a really good situation because the Dolphins don't have any natural pass rushers, really.
Yeah.
They don't have a ton of them. And if you can just be a good pass rusher, you might get in on those passing downs. I think Anthony Hill, yes, drafted early and slipped in the draft. If you want to be potentially a cornerstone of a Robert Saleh defense, because we know Robert Saleh can coach defense. He may not be a great head coach. We'll see. But, following the footsteps of guys like Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, that's a guy that can really round out your game to be a complete linebacker in the NFL. So I'm excited for Anthony Hill because I think he's in a good spot potentially for him. I don't think he's going to be able to showcase his pass rushing ability. That's not what Robert Saleh does with his linebackers, but he does have a great knack for teaching his linebackers how to be great coverage linebackers. And that's what Fred Warner was known for. It's the best coverage linebacker in the NFL. And I think that's an underrated aspect of Anthony Hill's game. Think about that play he made in that Georgia game. I mean, he's really underrated because he's got range, he's long, and he's athletic. And a lot of the knock on Anthony Hill was, he's just an athlete playing linebacker. And he hadn't honed his instincts yet. He's athletic, he's explosive, he's sudden, he's quick triggered in the run game, but he's not polished enough to draft that high linebacker. And I think I think Robert Saleh's defense will polish him up, and he'll end up being a really good cornerstone piece for them.
Yeah. Look, I think as long as he's playing downhill, I think he can have a great career in the NFL. He can dislodge people from the football. I think asking him to play in the reverse too much is not going to be great for him. So I think as long as he's an attack dog, I think he will have a really good career in the NFL. Because here's the one thing about him: he loves ball. He loves ball. Yeah. I remember from going to see him at Denton Ryan and talking to people. That's the thing they talked about, how much he loves football. And so as long as he keeps his love for the game, you have to keep your love for the game to keep being that downhill attack dog. If at any point you say, it's all right, you're not going to be the same player. So as long as he keeps that mentality he's always played with, I think he'll have a very successful career in the NFL. You asked some of the takeaways before the show. You know what was interesting to me? I'm not just picking on, A&M people are kind of running their mouths about how many draft picks they did. And
it was a good draft for that.
A&M to develop, not Texas. It's kind of crazy, and it's fans right on social media, but it's kind of crazy to watch that this week. And it's I think we're way beyond the point of people actually doing research on things anymore. It's in the last 3 NFL drafts, Texas is tied with Georgia and Ohio State for the most draft picks.
They do.
Texas, Georgia, and Ohio State all have 29. So I know look, I troll people, I get it. But it's that was weak trash talk because you're did you not follow the drafts before it, man? Texas and Georgia and Ohio State, Alabama, and Michigan, and Oregon have dominated the last 3 drafts. Mm-hmm. They all have 25-plus picks. And you're pointing at one year saying, this is why you should come here to get developed. I'm like, man, here's what I'll say about the development. Was it just raw talent? Because all that development got you 3 points at home against Miami. So I'm not sure what in the hell was being developed over there, other than maybe just have really talented players. And then the one that should really stick an A&M fan, well, everybody's crawl, Texas too. Ole Miss went to the national semifinals with 2 players drafted. That's got to be a record. So it's always about more than just talent. And now they were like Texas. They had some young guys that were really good. Obviously, Chambliss coming back, a couple of their stud linemen, running back Juwan Lacey. But that's one that should stand out to every other team in the SEC. That they made it to the national semifinals with 2 players drafted. How many more SEC teams had more than 2 players drafted? I'm guessing all of them or all but one of them maybe. I bet Vanderbilt had more guys drafted than Ole Miss. So it's more than about talent. Talent's important. It gives you a bigger margin for error. But Ole Miss proved to you this year, if now after the NFL draft, it's more than just about the talent.
Yeah. Well, Ohio State also proves that. Ohio State does it on the other end, right?
That's right.
Players drafted,
right.
But it's like, well, they were the most talented team, and it wasn't actually that close.
It wasn't close at all.
Yeah, it's like they were the most talented. So, and it's like they should have easily at least played for another national title. Matter of fact, this is the first year since 2019 where the team that had the most draft picks didn't win the national title.
Yep.
That had been a trend since LSU, that Joe Burrow team, that the team that won the national title also had the most players drafted. So it was, but Indiana kind of broke that trend, and Indiana still had 8 players drafted. So Indiana did their thing. But that was mostly development, as we know. They didn't have a lot of blue chip guys. They had a lot of veteran players via the portal, as we know, and they did it with a different formula. But still, it seems like got to have the talent. But as Jerry points out, Indiana proves it, and I think Ohio State this year also proves it. It's about more than that. And Sark knows that too. Because think about it. You just brought it up. You brought it up, Jerry. Texas tied in the last 3 years, tied with Georgia and Ohio State for the most NFL draft picks.
Yeah.
What's the difference between those teams? Those other teams have championships, and Texas doesn't.
That's right.
Georgia's got an SEC championship in that time span. Ohio State's got a national championship in that time span. You don't.
Yeah.
And then there's Bama and Michigan each have 27. Also got a championship or a conference championship, national championship or conference. So that's your issue right now, Sark. Sark, you're doing it. Sark is doing the damn thing. There's no doubt. He is bringing in the type of talent you need. And by the way, this is the most talented team. We're saying he's got that.
Yeah, it is by NFL draft. Yeah,
he's been stacking and stockpiling talent. Even Sark knows it ain't just about the talent because you've had the talent, Sark. You know that that stat proves it. But it ain't just about that. You've been missing some other things. You haven't broke tendency in the right moment, like your opposing coaches have, right? You haven't been clutch enough in critical moments on the goal line in the red zone. So Sark knows it's about more than just you've been undisciplined at times in key moments. So it's about more than just the talent. It's got to be polished and refined, but that is a phenomenal stat, though. It's a credit to Sark, but also it's a little bit of a critique. Hey, the other teams now they got titles. So they got something to show for the talent. And to your point, they have went above and beyond just the talent. And Sark hadn't done it just yet. He's done a hell of a job, though. Yeah. I mean, just a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And shout out to Mike Elko and the Aggies. Elko's doing really good, really good.
Well, I'll give him credit. I'll give the guy credit on something. Some people made fun of him preseason when he went to the podium and said, we have 10 to 12 NFL draft picks on this team. I think a lot of people are like, yeah, right. And I'm like, hey, look, man, A&M and Texas are top 5 NIL programs. They're both going to have a lot of talent on these rosters every year. If they don't, they just missed on too many guys because they both are 2 of the 5 biggest spenders in NIL football. There's no excuse for them not to have talented teams. And so next time Elko says, hey, if he says next year, hey, we got 11 NFL draft picks on this team, I'd chill out like laughing and making fun of that because he's probably right. These two teams can NIL their way to tons of talent in these programs. Yep. And they're going to every year. That's just the reality of it.
Yep. No, you're right about that.
I don't think we'll ever – I think because Rod didn't mean to cut you off, but because of NIL, it's allowed A&M and Texas to both be good at the same time, and that had never really happened before. Not much.
No, there's only been one time prior to last season, actually, in the history of the rivalry where they both managed to win double-digit games in the same season.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I didn't mean to say yes, they did win the Big 12 title in 2023, their last year in the Big 12. I apologize about that. But y'all understand what I was trying to say. Yeah, the Big 12 title is a different title than the SEC, which Kirby claims is tougher to win than the national title, but I don't know, it may just be Kirby talking. Yeah. But then the national title. Texas is in a different conversation now. That's my point. And by the way, that's a credit to Sark and what he has accomplished to push them into that conversation where, yeah, your Big 12 title, it don't cut the mustard no more right now. It's not going to give you ain't getting no street cred for that. It's all right. You ain't getting no street cred. It's an SEC title or a run, in the playoff to a national title. That's where Sark is right now with the expectations. And that's exactly where he should be.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Anton brought up something too. We're entering areas we've never been in the state of Texas. Tech is good at the same time. SMU, good at the same time. Oklahoma, good at the same time. And now LSU is about to be good at the same time. So we're going to have all these schools have it surrounded. Yep.
Yeah.
It's good to be a college football team in Texas.
Yeah.
In oil-rich Texas. I'll say that.
Because it used to be, Jared, the only way Texas could kind of flex its economic muscle in the football industrial complex, if you will, is at the high school level, right? You know, the facilities and all this kind of stuff, and how big you can kind of grow the program, and that's what and people saw that. I remember when the Super Bowl with I think the Packers were in that Super Bowl when they came down to Dallas, and they kept talking about it was like a freeze. Remember the big freeze? And they kept talking about the facilities because they were practicing at some indoor facility. I don't know if it was Allen or not, but it was an indoor facility there in Dallas, a high school facility. Yeah. And they were like, man, this is all as good as some NFL facilities. Like, but that's Texas. And the passion they have for football. It's its own economic engine if you do it right. And now with NIL and rev share, now at every level, at the college level now too, you can flex your economic muscle. And Texas can do it with any state in the country, probably better than any state in the country when you think about it. California ain't gonna go as far as Texas because they got other things they're concerned about, and Florida don't have the money. They ain't got the juice that Texas does. Yeah, they got and Georgia ain't got enough people. Georgia is still one of the top 3 most fertile recruiting grounds in the country right now.
And more guys drafted than California again this year.
They don't have the population Texas does. Texas is huge. Yeah. And so with all that put together, Texas has all the factors where they have the most players drafted again this year. That'll always be the case with Texas. It only had like 5 in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, you're gonna see the same 3 states have the most players drafted. Now that's per capita. Per capita is a different conversation, but the most players drafted from here on out because the population growth in Texas over the last 15 years in the Atlanta area, and it's only getting more and more. And then Florida. So you're going to see those 3 teams year in, year out have the most guys drafted in the NFL. I would predict 9 out of the next 10 years, those 3 lead the way. Maybe 1 year California sneaks in on them, but I'm not sure. I always go back to my ESPN Under Armour days when I was over the California camp. I couldn't find 25 D1 surefire power forward offensive linemen to invite to the camp. Like, not as many big kids play out there anymore. They still got the skill. They got really good players, but their depth is not there in California anymore, especially considering their population.
All right. We'll get to some of the questions here. Let's thank our sponsor, Rogue Shop, first. Thank you to our friends over at Rogue Shop. We appreciate them for sponsoring our Sunday night live stream. Use that discount code. You see it right there on your screen on Texas, and you'll get a very special discount from our friends over at Rogue Shop. RogueShop.com, bringing real plant medicine back to its roots. They have it all from oils and creams and flour, gummies and vitamins. They also ship nationwide, no matter where you are in this great country of ours. Our friends at Rogue Shop can get their fantastic products to you. Maybe it's sleep deprivation for you. Maybe you're dealing with aches and pains. Maybe it's just general anxiety overall. Go try some of the items over at Rogue Shop, and they may surprise you at how well they help you overcome and battle those ailments. That's RogueShop.com. Don't forget that discount code on Texas. And also, folks, let me tell you about our friends over at PrizePicks, also sponsoring our Sunday night live stream. We appreciate them. A lot of you folks out there, you probably haven't even heard of PrizePicks. Well, maybe you heard of it here at home in Texas. Well, folks, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not picking with PrizePicks. If you're just watching games and not on the app yet, you're doing it wrong. It is so much fun. It's so easy, all right? And it takes no time at all. Just gives you more reason, more passion to care about the game and the sport that you love. Every play matters. Every moment matters. You're locked in the whole time, and you have a chance to pad your wallet a little bit in the process. Nothing wrong with that. And it's really easy. There's no complicated stuff. If it was complicated or complex, I wouldn't be able to do it either. So trust me, it's simple. It's easy. You're going more or less on player stats. That's it. You got points and yards, hits, assists, whatever you're watching. You can build your lineup and you can just let it ride. You can do it in seconds. You can do it in minutes. If you want to, you can do some deep dive research on it and take a lot of time to do it. It's whatever kind of floats your boat. That's what I love about our friends over at PrizePicks, and also something to consider with our friends at PrizePicks. This is what I love. You can mix and match however you want. So say your favorite player on your favorite team is hot, they're rolling. Hey, you can pick that player and you can pair it, and you can pair it with another player in the sport, or you can mix and match across different sports. You can pair that with Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, golf, even esports, if that's your thing. That's the beauty of PrizePicks. They kind of let you be creative, all right, and how you want to build your lineups. And if you haven't tried it yet, now is a great time. You can download the app, use the code HMA. You can play $5, and they're giving you $50 in lineups instantly. All right, so that's the code HMA. Play 5, get 50. That's one heck of a deal. You won't find a better deal than that. So check out our friends over at PrizePicks. And as always, you can play smart, play responsibly, play PrizePicks. Love that stuff. It's great stuff. Check it out for yourself. Just try it out. But I guarantee once you try it out, you'll love it. All right, let's hit a few questions. Quentin here. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Quentin says, hot take, Anthony Hill should have stayed in school. Was Texas not paying him 60th pick money? 60th pick money is good money in the league.
Oh, excuse me. He just paid $9 million yesterday. Yeah, because he gets a $5 million signing bonus. Yeah. That's where it's slotted. He's going to go $5 million on the signing bonus and probably $3.5 his first year.
Yeah, man.
And he's not getting whacked after 1 year, even if things don't go well. No. So he's going to make 12 to 13.
Full contract.
Sure. Yeah.
Second round picks, they'll usually, unless you're just horrible or you got some off the field.
Which he should be good.
He should be good there. He'll get, and he's so high on other guys' boards too, because he was a second round pick. He's gonna get the full length of that contract. Yeah. Somebody else will pick it up.
Yeah, he's gonna make 17, 18 million.
Easily. Yeah. So that's why back in my day, maybe Quentin, but now with the new CBA, no, those guys are making real.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. The NFL, that slotted salary, after you get past the third round, then guys may have to make some decisions in the current NIL. If it's a offensive tackle, quarterback, like a Trinidad Chambliss, right? Yes. Brennan Sorsby, a Jordan Seaton, if you're eligible, if you're a junior eligible in those situations, right? Those level guys, premium position guys may have to make a decision. But if you're not a premium position guy, I don't still know if it's really a decision at fourth round. Once you get beyond that, it definitely is. I'm interested to see what the NBA does in the future, because the NBA is the one getting hurt by NIL, not NFL. The NFL is later in the draft.
Yeah, it's like the fifth.
But the top guys are still coming out. We're reaching a point in the NBA right now where 3 or 4 or 5 guys that would be mid-first rounders aren't even coming out. Wow. So that's going to be interesting to see how the NBA adjusts.
Yeah, no, I'm with Jerry. I think, because that's why when you can put your name in to the NFL, like draft council or review board, and they'll give you basically their consultation on whether you should go back to school or enter an NFL draft. And I believe the grades they give you are first round, second round, go back to school.
Go back to school.
That's really the 3 grades they'll give you. Like you're graded out as a first rounder, you're graded out as a second rounder, or you graded out just go back to school. Because that's pretty much your value, because the guaranteed money is cut in half from the first round to the second round. And then from the second round to the third round, it gets cut even more than that in terms of guaranteed money. That's basically what they did in the CBA with the rookie wage scale. It was like, all right, we don't want to pay the rookies so much, but we'll just start cutting down the guaranteed money.
And Rod in the chat, I think we always talk about should a player go back. I've talked to a couple of college coaches, and you know what's interesting from their perspective for everybody to think about? Like, I'd love everybody's opinion. Would you bring a guy back if he was like, we can get this guy back, we can convince him to come back, but is he going to have both feet in? I think this is where college coaches are struggling with NIL right now, trying to get a kid to stay out of the draft and come back to school, is they're all saying, we can get some of these guys back, but is it 1 foot in or both feet in when we get them back? Because if it's only 1 foot in, Rod, if you're a coach, sometimes you don't want that guy back. You want a guy to come back that's not just coming back because he can make $1.4 million extra, but you have to really believe they're going to be both feet in if they come back. Because otherwise, it's not going to work the way you wanted it to, and it's going to be in wasted money.
Yeah.
So I think we always talk about from the player's perspective. If you're a coaching staff and you're sitting there trying to make decisions, Rod, what would you do if you were a coach? If you felt like a guy was 1 foot in, even if he was really talented, would you still want him? It's a tough call. It's a tough call.
It depends on what I got behind him.
Yeah.
It depends on where I am as a coach. I'm on the hot seat meter, right? Do I got 2 years left before people start freaking out? I'm on the hot seat this year. And so you're right. There's a lot to consider with those questionable decisions. Because you're talking about basically some guys going to the league, right?
Right. Living out their dream.
You won't basically Janae Barron, right? Janae Barron, who he could have went to the league and they just to come back, and then he was all in, like increasing his draft stock and help. You want somebody that's also being invested in the team and not just himself.
Yes.
It's not just, hey, my stock, my value, me. You want somebody that's going to come back as a we guy that's going to reinvest in the group and the team. That's right. Want to be a leader and a mentor to the young guys.
That's right.
As well, coming up and still be a positive role model, all those things, and not be an energy vampire to the team. I'm with you. No, how do you know? I mean, you got to know the young man, and sometimes when they're transfers, maybe you don't. Sometimes maybe it's like what did Sark say this year? They put a lot more effort and investment into investing into investigating the character,
right?
The guys they were bringing in.
Well, that's what I've said before. That's why I love this portal class. It's more than talent for me because everything proves this. All this stuff in winning is more than talent. Talent helps. Obviously, it gives you a bigger margin for error. One of the things I love about this portal class, the majority of these kids haven't won before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really key. I mean, we've talked. Cam Coleman's never been to a bowl game. Justin Crier's been through some more downs and ups at FSU. Smothers started out at OU, didn't work out. Went to NC State, was okay. Rasheem Biles probably decent team, right? Raleek Brown was on the team that went to the college football playoff. He was hurt a lot of that season, so he didn't really experience it himself that much. He wasn't really the key guy like he probably thought he would be because of injury. So you look around, Melvin Siani at Wake Forest. A lot of these guys haven't won yet. That's why I like this portal class more than just about being the draft pick possible. Bo Masco. That guy's got his butt kicked for 3 years. He could play great and lose by 40. That sucks. These guys have a chance to win.
That's a great. I love that point, Jerry. You brought that up before. I think you're right on the money there too. Those guys are hungry. All right, let's get back to the super chats here. This one from Horns Truth, since we're talking draft, says injuries fell lower than expected, should have stayed. Now this is the question. This is a good one.
Yeah,
because Anthony Hill, the money is too much money to pass up. You go get that. That's $9 to $12 million. For Jack injuries drafted where he was as late as he was, you could make the argument that he probably should have come back to school. That's a valid. I haven't looked at how much money that Jack Injury is going to make yet, but at 221st in round 7, considering what Texas might have offered him to stay and how they valued him, and look at the tight end position right now too. There's a lot of unproven commodities, especially as a pass receiver, as a pass catcher. Oh yeah.
I mean, look, I'm going to see if I can get down to this. The NFL, what was he, 221st?
221st.
221st. The life of the contract is $4.4 million. But year one's $927,000.
That's good, man. I don't mean that's still good money, man.
The NFL is, I question some of these guys sometimes, although that are sticking around. But I mean, the NFL is caught up pretty well from a draft pick standpoint, much more so than the NBA, like I said.
Yeah, but the thing about the NFL is it is cutthroat.
Yes.
When you cut any day in college, you're making the team.
That's
in
right.
NFL, you got to make the team. You got to literally to go out there. And there's a lot now, not Jack Injuries, but you guys who drafted Anthony Hill's made the team, right? Big money contract guys, they on the team, but 65 to 70% of those guys out there, they literally got to go make the team.
Yeah.
You got to go out there and grind and go make it. And that's the big difference. So if you want to make and I'll say this to Jack Injuries, the tight end position right now, I'll give you the stats. I went and looked it up because it was kind of wild to me when I started doing the research on it. So You had the most tight ends drafted since 2002. Had 22 of them. 24 was the record in 2002. Second most since 1999. The most draft capital spent on tight ends since 2006. And it was the third most since 1999. And I gave you guys this stat. I think I gave you guys that. We were talking about the run game and how run first defenders, or kind of run plus defenders in the run game, maybe I should put it that way, how they're having more value, creating more value for themselves at the NFL level. And here's why. The NFL ran the ball at its highest rate last season since 2011. It used 2 or fewer receivers at the highest rate since 2014. That's heavy packages.
Yep.
Big guys, mostly 12 personnel, 13 personnel. So the tight end position is gaining value. Now, his people may not have known that, but it's probably going to continue to gain value for the next couple of years. And you can make the argument, him coming back, that he could have boosted his draft stock, just showing he was a better blocker potentially. And then having, obviously, a Cam Coleman added to the mix, or Malik Brown. Nobody would have been worried about Jack injuries as a defensive coordinator, I can assure you, on this offense. They'd have been like, I can't worry about Jack injuries. And Jack injuries would have had a field day.
Hey, Rod, I got a question for you. This is where the salary scale's going. Jeremiah Love has $53 million pretty much guaranteed as a running back before he ever carries in NFL. That's a wild number for a running back.
It's unbelievable.
What do you think of his fit at Arizona? Because to pick a running back that high with where the rookie scale is now, you have to truly think he's going to be a great player, and you have a great situation for him.
I just gave the number. He's 22, by the way. He's only 20.
Yeah, he's a youngster.
He's a baby.
Yeah.
And he is the real deal. Like, I
love him.
There ain't no doubt in his ability. Like, he's one of those generational running backs, and he's only 20, so he's young. So you can make the argument that the NFL is running the ball more than ever, so the run game has more value than it ever has. And you can make the argument that, okay, even when he gets to his second contract, because that's always the issue with the running back position, are we going to get value, return on that investment before he hits his peak and starts to decline? Because running backs usually start to decline around 27, 28 years old. He's 20 now. You can get 2 contracts in with this guy before he starts to really decline, and then you can trade him off. So I see what the Arizona Cardinals are looking at. I don't know if they have the infrastructure there to really maximize him, but I think they're thinking about the long term. And they're going to go get a quarterback probably next couple of drafts. They may be in the tank for Arch. We'll get into the 2027 drafts. They may be in that situation. A lot of people believe that 2027 you'll have 4 to 5 quarterbacks potentially in the first round conversation. And the Cardinals are probably thinking we're still going to be bad, but then we'll get our quarterback. We'll have a running game already formed when he comes in. That's the best friend of a young quarterback. And then we'll build the offensive line and all that kind of stuff around him. That's the only thing I can think of why you would draft a running back that high and then pay him that much guaranteed money, as we talked about. He's guaranteed. Now, the running back position, if he gets hurt or anything like that,
he hurdles people.
Yeah. So it's a risky investment. If he gets hurt at that position any time in that rookie contract and can't play for an extended amount of time, that's a lot of dead money that you're paying, a guaranteed money you're paying a running back, which a lot of people believe you can get that kind of talent later on in the draft. And if he's not one of the better running backs in the league by second, third year, like Bijan, all pro, also bad investment. Somebody's going to get fired. So it's risky. It's risky.
It's going to be interesting. He's a hell of a player.
He's a hell of a player, though.
And we're talking $15 million signing bonus before his first hurdle.
I can't justify that. I like him. He should be the exception. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been a top 10 pick, but their situation may be a little bit different. So Michael here with the super chat said, thank you, Michael, for the super chat. We appreciate it. He said Miller killed the portal. Yes, he did. He's on the healer. Looking forward to next season. Vic should have gone the Sark route. Ooh, Sark has 1 year with Arch and went for it. Vic has gone the freshman route. Any portal options for Vic? Oh, yeah. Is Vic going to go organic, traditional talent acquisition?
Well, I think we need to let it play out. I find it hard to believe. Look, there's the information right now on that side is pretty chill and quiet. I find it hard to believe he will not bring in a little more experience. He has too much experience in this game. Has won too much.
And his name, he can recruit with the name and the track record to bring in some of the best.
And Texas has NIL juice in women's hoops.
They should. He's earned it. It's kind of like what Sean Miller did this year. I think now Sean Miller's going to have a lot. He's going to have. He has it right now. A lot more support in NIL because he's already proven that hey, I can do more with less. Give me more. Let's see what
I want to say this from a men's NIL perspective. Everybody for those that love basketball, thank CDC because Texas was put in a put up or shut up position, and it didn't happen because Sean Miller went to a Sweet 16. If he'd have lost in this round of 32, it would have had to be the same. You had to make a decision. The price to play poker in the NIL and basketball this go round, the prices were up 30 to 35%.
Wow.
So you either had to decide that you were going to give this a go, or you were going to fall back and just be a team that can make an NCAA tournament. Because where the prices went was crazy. They were up a third. More than a third on centers, so be glad you kept yours because it wasn't easy, but people were out there saying if you jump in the portal, you'll get $4.5 to $5 million. It was him and it was Matas and Flory Badinga. Those are the two guys. So you either had to put up or shut up in this portal cycle. Bottom line for me, the prices just went up way too much, and I think it was great. Not that Texas wouldn't have done it, but credit to CDC. I think it pushed Texas to go where I think they needed to go, and now Sean has a chance. All you can ask for a chance. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, there's been more talented teams and I think Texas is super talented. Don't get me wrong. I think all 5 starters will be NBA draft picks either in 27 or 28. But there's been more talented teams than Texas get bounced in the round of 32 in the end. So it doesn't guarantee anything, but what it does give you is a chance. So you can go in the next season. You're going to be ranked anywhere from probably 7 to 11 and all these rankings and say, we have a chance. And if you trust Sean Miller to coach basketball, you say, we have a legitimate chance to be good. That's all you can ask.
Yep.
That's all you can ask.
Yep. No, it's good stuff. And thank you for the super chat, Mike. We appreciate it. And yeah, Sark learned his lesson because Sark had a young team this past season. This is not a young team. And I think he learned why leave any doubt? If there's a question mark, you have now an apparatus, you have a way to bring in, a potential solution to that issue. And that's what Sark did. Like there's not a ton of question marks, period. I mean, there are a few, but I think they brought in a lot of veteran proven commodities to make sure that they had the pieces they needed this year. All right, before we get to some more questions, we'll get back to that and get to some of the talk. I want to get to some undrafted free agent conversation. I want to get this mock draft really quickly from 2027. CBS,
I love it.
They didn't waste any time. Good for them because they was like, you know what? Everybody's talking about the draft. Everybody's talking about how weak there was a lot of talk about how weak this draft was. Just so you know, that was kind of the macro discussion. Like, it just wasn't a lot of heavy hitting talent at the top of the draft. The premium positions, you didn't have a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of wide receivers, a lot of edge rushers at the top of the draft. A lot of tackles, though. I will say that. I think they had. I think the first round had 9 tackles or something like that drafted. So they said it wasn't a lot of high level talent at the tackle position, but ended up being a lot of O-linemen drafted. But CBS Sports did a mock draft 2027, way too early, of course. But Longhorn fans got giddy about this. They had the Jets with the first pick, taking Arch Manning, number 1 overall. That's not a surprise. Like right now, early on, Arch Manning is the top quarterback on people's way too early board. I will say this. I saw, and shout out to, I forgot from the state, Danny Davis from the Statesman. I believe he had this little nugget. I want to give him credit because it's a great nugget. He said, since selecting, because I guess the Jets, maybe they, on a lot of people's 2027 boards are projected to be the worst team in the NFL and have the number 1 overall pick. He said, since selecting Johnny Lamb Jones with the second pick of the 1980 NFL draft, the Jets have not used any of their subsequent 417 picks on a Texas football player. That drought continued through this year. I'm assuming that's got to be the longest drought of a team not picking a Texas Longhorn. So that would be, like I said, serendipitous if the Jets end up picking Arch Manning, who is indeed a Longhorn through and through. They got Dante Moore of Oregon going number 2. They got Jeremiah Smith going to Miami at number 3. That'd be cool to be hanging out with a bunch of Longhorns there.
Yeah,
if that's the case. They got Dante Moore going to Arizona, by the way, to our conversation earlier. So Dante Moore and Jeremiah Love paired up. Number 4, they got Colin Simmons going to the Cleveland Browns. So they got 2 Longhorns in the top 4 of this 2027 mock draft. They got, not going to say I was the earliest on him because his dad.
Early. You can take credit, bro.
His dad was a big fan, but I was on him his junior year. I say he was the best corner in the state, in my opinion. Leonard Moore, who is the best corner in college football.
Yeah, and was last year.
Yeah, and he's going to win the Thorpe this year, I think. They got him going to the Titans. So he's going to Anthony Hill. Oh, they would build a hell of a defense, actually. That'd be a nice little combo right there. Number 6 in this draft, they got Cam Coleman going to the Vegas Raiders. He'd be hooking up with Mendoza, can hang out with no Tom Brady. I would like that. That would be 3 Longhorns in the top 6 picks, look, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not keeping up. They got Dylan Stewart, the edge from South Carolina, going to the Saints. There also got some Longhorns there with the Saints too. And then they got Brendan Sorsby. Actually.
I don't agree with that. That's way too high, but keep going, Ron.
Yeah, Texas Tech quarterback going to Pittsburgh, the 8th pick. They got Tradez Green, the tight end out of LSU.
Freak athlete.
Freak, yeah. And tight end is increasing in value. They got him at the 9th pick overall, going to Carolina. And then they got Trevor Gooseby, number 10 overall. Going to Atlanta to hang out with Bijan and block the.
He goes at a Seton. That's a hell of an accomplishment for Booker because Seton's a freak.
Yeah, he's going to show at the combine, right? When
yeah. Gooseby will test well. But Seton's got that dream build, is what he has. Okay. He has that freaky, like DJ Fluker, like not that big, but it's put together perfectly when he walks out in front of you.
Yeah. No, they got Gooseby as the top tackle off the board. This is kind of what we discussed. If Arch is the top quarterback, Colin Simmons is the top edge rusher, and Gooseby is the top tackle, and those are the premium positions. Now, Cam Coleman can't be the top receiver. He won't be. Jeremiah Smith took that over a couple of years ago. But he can be number 2, which is basically what they have him here, second best receiver. If you're the second best receiver in a draft like this, you'll probably end up top 12, top 15 easy. So it's not out of the realm if Arch, Gooseby, and Colin Simmons are all the top players at all those premium positions, QB, edge, and tackle. That's not out of the realm. It would be crazy to have 3 top 10 picks. Yeah. They've had 3 first rounders. That's the record for Texas. 3 first rounders in 1980. And to go from 3 first rounders as your record in the first round to 3 in the top 10 would be incredible. That'd be incredible. Sorry, 4. That'd be incredible. 4 in the top 10. Sorry, that'd be incredible. Because Goosby's in there too. That's crazy.
I was thinking, looking on down on this, I was doing a quick 20. It'll be just like last year. 20. Look, these drafts change a lot, but
yes, of course.
It is right now. 20 of the 32 first rounders are at the same school they signed without a high school. I think the trend we're going to see in the NFL draft is your first round, 2/3 of those guys are going to be from the high school they signed. Are going to be out of high school, the college they sign with is who they're going to get drafted by.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because 1, those guys that schools don't let them leave unless there's a coaching change.
Yeah, exactly.
And 2, your Colin Simmons, your Arch Mannings, your Jeremiah Smiths of the world, if you're one of those schools that can recruit the top talent in the country, you're going to produce a lot of those. Hey, Colin Simmons signed with Texas, and he's going in the draft from Texas. Because if you have the ability to recruit that level high school talent, then that's still going to be the lifeblood of your program, and you're going to be not totally dependent on portal, where some schools are going to be more dependent on portal and pick up some of their future draft picks in different ways more so. But those blue bloods and those power schools, Rod, they're still going to have their high school guys, a lot of them draft in the first round because those are the guys everybody wanted out of high school.
Yep.
Colin Simmons and Dylan Stewart were first-round level guys if they stayed healthy and out of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jeremiah Smith was a first-round guy
No matter where you went.
Stayed upright.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so 20 or 30, I think we're going to be looking at that 20, 21 or 32 every year, at least for the foreseeable future, are going to be guys that signed with and left the same school, because that's just what you can attract from a talent perspective at the major universities.
It's not that different from the NFL. If you are a top pick and then you actually outplay or play to your contract, that team doesn't let you leave. They got a 5th-year option on you, and then they're gonna try to match franchise tag you, and then try to sign you. It's just the way it is, because they're gonna try to keep you around as long as possible. I think you're right. I think ultimately the mobility that we're talking about, which some people don't like, is basically for the bottom 80% of the players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The guys who they're good players and they're starters, but they're looking to maximize their value in the open market and also increase their draft stock at the same time. Make money on the back end of that career with the draft stock, but also make money in the real time. Going to a team that needs me, where also I can win. That's why you saw, so many that what they said it was like 14 group of 6 draft picks, just 14 of them.
Just 14.
Yeah, just because they all transferred though. You look, I think there were like 39 that transferred to the Power 4 that were drafted. So it's like, well, yeah, usually be like 40 something, but they all transferred, upward mobility.
They got called up from AA to the majors. Exactly.
They get more money to go to a bigger stage, and on that bigger stage, they can increase their draft stock long term. So I'm with you. I think, Jerry, you're right about that. I think that's the bottom 80%. And those guys still, a lot of them, it works out for them. It doesn't work out for everybody. Jack Hendricks didn't increase his draft stock.
No.
It doesn't work out for everybody. It doesn't work out for everybody. But like you said, that top 20%, they'll get every opportunity to stay, and they'll leave only because they I want out. I want out for whatever reason. You can't offer me either the money or I want to win. I want to win.
Jordan Seaton, perfect example.
Cam Coleman probably could have got money.
Perfect example.
Yeah, he's like, I want to go win, man. I'm tired of losing here. I'm terrible, and people don't even look at me anymore as a good player because I'm here losing. So, I'm with you, Jerry. I think 15 to 20%, those guys, right? And that's what Ohio State. Look at Ohio State's guys. Look at all the guys that getting drafted. Some of them are transfer, but most of them are just homegrown.
Not many. Look, Caleb Downs only transferred because Nick Saban retired. Let's be real, right? Else he wouldn't have been there. So I'll look it up and give you the numbers.
It ain't many. And I think that would probably be the case for most of the, like you said, the elite.
That's right. That's right.
Ohio State.
Look at Miami's draft picks this year. They had to go retool in the secondary, and on defense, they had a D coordinator change.
Yeah.
All those offensive linemen were either recruited by Miami out of high school or out of JUCO, the big left tackle. You're going to see more of those guys that were out of the high school. But if you look at the 2026, 25, I guess, list for Ohio State, if we look at that team, Emeka Egbuka, high school, Donovan Jackson, high school, Tyler Williams, Josh Simmons was a transfer, Judkins, but Travion Henderson, Tuamulo, Cody Simon, Lathan Ransom, Jack Sawyer. You can go down that list, Jordan Hancock, Denzel Burke, and the majority of those guys, I think they had 3 transfers in that group. The majority of their 2025 picks were all high school guys that signed with Ohio State. And I think that's what you're going to see with the Blue Bloods, but by and large. If you have a coaching change, like LSU had a coaching change, they're going to have a bunch of guys drafted in the next 2 years, obviously. A lot of those guys will be portal.
Yeah,
that was the coaching change. But now watch what happens after that at LSU, because they have a lot of talent in that state. And if you keep them home, the Richard Andersons, the Lamar Browns, those guys that will be coming up that are NFL draft picks, they're going to be guys that signed with LSU out of high school and went in the NFL draft out of LSU.
Yeah, and it's the only way to build your roster if you're a blue blood too. Get the cornerstone pieces and then supplement from then. All right, what do we need? Supplement. Totally agree. All right, Aloha Traveler with a super chat. Thank you, Aloha Traveler says, Aloha, fellas, was the NFL draft proof that Sark ultimately didn't go out and get enough upperclassmen talent out of the portal last year? In my opinion, Texas should always have double-digit draft picks in the portal era. Thank you, Aloha Traveler. It's a good point about the draft picks. That definitely has helped Sark have these prolific numbers, right, with draft picks. Last year, if you beat Florida, you make the playoff. Like, you still make the playoff.
They had enough.
They had enough to make.
Ole Miss went to the semifinals with 2 players drafted this weekend.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Did they do enough? No, they didn't do enough. We know that from the offensive line. Did they have enough? Yes. They do enough? No. Did they have enough? Oh, they had enough to make the playoff. Yeah. We saw that later on in the season, but that Florida game came back to haunt them. A good point there, though. Aloha Traveler, we appreciate that. One here says that, Jerry, what's going on with the women's basketball program? A dad from one of the girls that transferred out of the program was talking negative about Vic. Thoughts?
Look, I mean, let's see how this all ends, I would say. That's what I would say. Let's see what happens with the portal, how this all ends. I think there's maybe more so in the women's game. I think if you're old school, I think it's tougher nowadays in some instances. But I'll roll with a guy that's won a lot to continue to win. I will say that. But what's going on with it? Let's just see how everything plays out. I would say give him a chance to build his roster and see what that looks like. He's done a lot of really good things at Texas.
Great things at Texas.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat, one. We appreciate it. Okay, before we get back to a couple of questions and in tonight's live stream, I do want to talk about the undrafted free agents. 7 of them, and congrats are in order. Jack Bomeister went to the San Francisco 49ers, or at least signed with the 49ers, the punter. So congrats to him. He's got an outside shot here. The reason I say is because Carlos Waitman, he is their starting punter right now. It's his 9th team, so he's a bit of an NFL journeyman, but he's a veteran journeyman. He was an undrafted free agent. Most punters are, but he got his first start in Denver in 2022. And he was a full-time starter there. He had started 17 games, really pumped up his punting numbers, which obviously the mile high air will do that. He had 46.6 average, and he had the most punts in the NFL that year as well. So so he's a good player. But if they want to, and just think about the practice squad these days with these undrafted free agents, it wasn't the case when Rod B was playing, but now you can have 17 players on your practice squad. And you can have veterans on your practice squad. The rule is basically, I think you have to have 10 players must be rookies or second-year guys, but the rest of the players can be veterans, and you only need 1 international player. Shout out to you, Jerry. So the NFL is already thinking about that. Every team has to have 1 international player on their 17-man practice squad. So if they want to invest in like a punter potentially, like, hey, let's for the future, because they got a punter on he's a 9th-year punter, and nobody wants to overpay a punter. And when you're paying a punter who's been in the league 10, 12 years, which this guy, depending on how long he's going to be in the league, I mean, he's a veteran guy. You could end up, investing in a potential future punter, kind of like Jack Bomeister. So that's potentially a way he can see the field. I think all these guys, practice squad is going to be really big for all of them because now the NFL can invest in development with a lot of these players. So Bomeister with the 49ers. Also, we got Ethan Burke going to the Ravens. Jerry, I kind of like this one too. Ravens is just a great organization. So I feel like when a organization brings you in as an undrafted free agent, it always feels it should feel good as a player. You should feel complimented by that. But Ethan Burke, man, he's got all the measurables, and he just needs a shot. I think he could end up on a practice squad for the Ravens potentially.
Yeah. The guy in no man's land is Matthew Caldwell.
Oh yeah, he's in. Yeah. I don't know what's up. He's with the Rams, and the Rams just drafted Ty Simpson. They also have Matthew Stafford. A lot of people believe Matthew Stafford's about to get like a mini extension, basically, so he can be the starting quarterback for the next 2 years or so. Then they got Stetson Bennett, who Sean McVay already has stated that Ty Simpson's going to be competing with him for the backup job. So if Matthew Caldwell can just be a practice squad quarterback or emergency guy, that'd be great.
And what he proved last year at Texas is he has football intelligence without playing in games. That guy was always where he was supposed to be. He was always engaged in the team. He didn't come there not thinking and prepare like he wasn't ever going to get in the game. He looked like a guy who was a professional-minded player last year, and that can keep you on a practice squad. That gives him a shot. But no man's land never play there. Let's say that.
Yeah, he actually, if you just take away, I'm not looking at snaps, just looking at the grades. Pro Football Focus has Matthew Caldwell 10th in Pro Football Focus grade with a 90.2, 19th in passing grade, 83.3, and 15th in passer rating, 125.2. Now, only 11 attempts, but he was money in those 11 attempts. So who knows? It could be a wild story, but I'm with you. I heard on the sideline that he was very business-like. Mm-hmm. Most backup quarterbacks, they're pretty casual. And, their demeanor is pretty casual on the sideline, joking around a little bit, smiling. He was not like that at all. I heard he was like freaking like he was lazy focused. Yep. Yeah, like American Psycho on the sidelines. Like, dude, you're not playing right now. And he's just like, nah, man. I'm taking mental reps when I'm watching this game. Like he was that, and it made sense because when he got in, there was
unless he wants to do something else with his life, he's an easy guy to predict to be a successful coach.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good about that. Real quick about the Ethan Burke thing. One thing the Ravens might be looking at, I just talked about the NFL being a running league now. It is a running league. Like I said, they've run the ball more, the most since 2011. I didn't realize this. I did some research on it. You go look at run stop rate. Any defender in college football. So any defender in college football with at least 50 snaps, and look at their run stop rate. And Ethan Burke was third overall, tied with Jacob Rodriguez in all of college football on run stop rate. He was actually an elite run defender for Texas, like really, really good. He also was an elite special teams defender. He had a 90.6 Pro Football Focus special teams grade in 2025. It was second best among all FBS players. He was, as we know, he blocked 3 kicks in his college career. Just throwing it out there. The NFL is becoming a running league, so they need bigger bodies. He was the tallest edge at the combine in terms of the measurements. 4th heaviest, 4th longest wingspan, 6'6", 267, big body. You can probably bump him inside. Just throwing it out there on running downs against running teams. In a division that's a black and blue division that likes to pound the rock, start it out there.
I'll predict he'll get at least 2 batted balls in OTAs or fall camp because Pavia signed with the Ravens, so he's going to be good for 2 batted balls.
Did he really sign with the Ravens?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Wow. Actually, I'm happy about that. I'm not a Pavia hater like most folks out there.
I'm not a Pavia hater, but I am having fun with it because his Heisman stuff was just over the top.
Oh, it is. Yeah. No, he deserves.
I'm gonna have a little fun with him as much as I respect him as a competitor.
Yeah, he deserves what he's getting right now. Yeah. But like I said, I'm glad that football in the end, because if he would not end up in a training camp, would have been, to me, that'd have been a shame. That'd have been shameful. Y'all are wrong for that. All right, Jalen Gilbo went to the Panthers. That's going to be a long road for him. He's basically kind of coming as the 10th cornerback there. Yeah. That's going to be a long road period. Travis Shaw signed with the Ravens as well, actually. Travis Shaw, the thing that might help him is just his size. I mean, he's 6'5", 340.
He's a good athlete with bad knee.
Yeah, so, maybe he's got a shot there. Also, Mason Shipley, he's signed with the New Orleans Saints. That's good for him. Their starting kicker is formerly a Gaelic football player. I'm not making that up. He was a Gaelic football player, first played NFL football in 2024. He actually started for them. I got his debut in 2025. He won the job because he made a 56-yard field goal and converted an onside kick in a game, and they gave him the starting job after that, and he made a game-winning field goal also later on that season. But he ain't solidified there. So you know how kicking go. You miss 3-4 field goals and a chance to win a game, and they will fire you on the spot in the NFL. They'll fire you that week. That's how it works for kickers. So Mason Shipley, just stay strong, brother. Stay strong and stay focused. You might be okay there. And also Cole Brevard ended up with the Kansas City Chiefs. Good for him. And we talk about Matthew Caldwell with the LA Rams. So good for him. So congrats to all those guys who got a chance as an undrafted free agent to keep the dream alive. All right, let's thank our final sponsors. Thank our sponsor, Rogue Shop, one more time before we end tonight's live stream. Thank you very much to Rogue Shop, rogueshop.com. Use that discount code on Texas, and you'll get a very special discount from our friends over at Rogue Shop, bringing real plant medicine back to its roots. Nobody does it better, whether you're dealing with just pain from playing days, or from battling Father Time, or it's just general anxiety, or maybe it's sleep deprivation. You can't get a good night's sleep. Try some of the fantastic products over at Rogue Shop, and they can help you battle and overcome those ailments successfully. They also ship nationwide. No matter where you are, they can get their products to you. Use that discount code on Texas. They have it all, from oils and creams to flour, gummies, and vitamins. That's rogueshop.com, bringing real plant medicine back to its roots. Shout out to, we got a super chat here before we get out of here. Juan, thank you, Juan. Got another one. Said, did you all see Mekhi Lemon was talking to the Steelers on the phone, and then the Eagles trade up to get him? That sucks for the Steelers. Oh, I did not see that. Oh, that's brutal. Like I said, that stuff happens. Like, even in the late rounds, like they told my agent multiple times, hey, tell Babies to get by the phone. It's basically, we got him and another guy we're thinking about, but we're sure it's him. And it didn't happen a couple of times. So they always, teams are talking and calling and that kind of stuff. So that sucks for the Steelers. Real quick, thank you, Juan, for the super chat. We appreciate it. CB says, hey, Rob, before the show ends, say some prayers for my sister Celia. Her family, her father-in-law could pass at any moment. It's only a matter of time. I'm so sorry to hear that, CB. Love the time I spent with Celia, sophisticated Celia, as I call her. So please give her my best, and praying for you and your family, man. Please, keep your head up. No doubt about it. We consider ourselves a family here at On Texas Football. So thank you for sharing, number one, and keep your head up and give Celia my best. We'll be praying for you guys. All right. Thank you for all the super chats, guys. Great stuff. Thank you for the participation. Thank you for all of the great thoughts and all the great jokes as well, too. Thanks to Matthew behind the scenes. Nobody does it better. He's the real MVP. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate all your expertise. If we missed any of your questions, please direct them to the gentleman, one of them right here. Coffee and Football, bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:15 a.m. And then you'll also have our Monday night live stream. Be myself. Also, Coach Bob Shipley will be on there. I think Marcus Myers is actually going to sit in for us. You're welcome, CB. Anytime, brother. Going to sit in tomorrow with us. So that'll be the 7 p.m. crew for the show tomorrow. So we appreciate all you guys for Jerry and for Matthew. I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.